morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. A reminder, as always, guys, that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about these markets. Happy Friday, everybody. Good morning and happy Friday, both the audience and the panel. Hope we've all had a fantastic week. I know it's been a little bit disjointed. Obviously, we had a holiday smack dab in the middle. We were traveling on Monday, but here we are. We're going to bring you guys as much alpha as we possibly can on this beautiful Friday morning, both in the markets and hopefully outside of your window, your office, wherever you might be watching us from. But I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max, Tucker, and Louie. Welcome, guys. Welcome. But before we start cooking, before we start sharing all of the big, juicy alpha that we can possibly conjure up here on, like I said, this lovely Friday here to end our week, I need you guys to smash that like button. We really haven't been bugging you guys too much. I mean, earlier in the week, you guys did absolutely crush it. I think it was Tuesday. You guys had like 300 or 400 likes on this stream. That was awesome. That was huge. I'd love to be able to repeat that potentially if you guys are down for it. So make sure to hit that like button. We're going to be cooking regardless. But if you want to share your appreciation, you have, you are more than willing to do so. But let's talk about the markets, guys. Bitcoin has obviously been a bit of a mixed bag here over the last 24 hours, really over the last 2 weeks. Is it going to bottom? Is it not? Is this squeeze going to be the one that potentially ignites a shift in trend, or is it just that, a squeeze that gets rejected at resistance, smack back down? Man, you want to talk about meat grinders on Bitcoin? That is one of the more legendary ones that I can ever remember on Bitcoin. So we continue to wonder, is this going to be the level where we carve out the higher low? Or are we going to puke a little bit lower before that happens? I'm sure that's going to be a discussion that we have later on this show. Going to need to get Dr. Outlook on here as well. I'm sure that he's going to want to, debate that. Or probably against that side as well. But yeah, guys, we have a bit of lower time frame volatility. We've had it pretty much all week, really more than just this week. But we remain steadfast, don't we, gentlemen? And yeah, we will see what exactly the market does from these levels on both Bitcoin and ETH. But one thing I will say that I'm seeing, we are beginning to see some altcoins show, I would say some pretty significant lower time frame divergences against both Bitcoin and Ethereum. That was something that we talked about earlier this week. Even if you do see lower prices on majors, you are seeing altcoins that have probably already flushed the majority of their open interest, locally speaking. So they probably don't have as much forced selling left to do. There may be a bit healthier derivatives markets, and we could see them not just lead a bounce, but maybe even start to rally before majors find a bottom. I'm talking, of course, about Pepe as being one of those coins. There are some more, as we know, but Pepe is the one that's jumping off my watch list right now. It's up 5% on a day where both Bitcoin and ETH, I guess there's still some uncertainty in those markets, but Pepe looks good. Study strong altcoins. That's what I tell our Discord all the time. But yeah, equities, of course, probably you could argue the driver of this selling that we're seeing so far today, right? Nvidia down over 2%. We'll see if that reverses into the end of the day. People wanted to know what happens when Nvidia pulls back. Well, I mean, so far, I think the S&P and the NASDAQ are probably off the highs by 0.5%. So really not too anticlimactic over in equity land, but we'll have to see, continue to see how that develops here over the next few days. But I'm going to open the floor, guys. Happy Friday, end of the week. A week with some pretty hellacious price action on Bitcoin. We can call it what it is. I'm ready to talk about it, dissect it. Where are we going next? And what are we seeing in the markets?
I mean, I like what I'm seeing here, guys. I don't know if you see what I'm seeing, but this little stair step down really reminded me of this at 25K. It really did. Right? Like this kind of terrible lower highs you know, every pop nuked into, I'm sure this looks even worse on like the 15-minute, right? Basically, eventually you find the bottom, right? And we're trying to put it in right now, I think. So I don't know, like you kind of back here, right? Back at 25K, like you ripped. This is almost distribution. You just bleed back down into support and then you rip, right? Kind of the same thing, right? Kind of the same thing. You know, that's basically all this is support, man. All that support. So I don't know. I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it looks bad at all. Right? What do you guys think about that?
So definitely, I feel like I can, you know, I don't know if the price action is the same, but to the extent of the just squeeze and sell off and squeeze and sell off, I was kind of thinking to myself earlier this week how this little 10-day downtrend that we've had feels kind of like the price action that you pointed out, Tucker. Like we squeeze and then we immediately sell off, and it's just this perpetual downtrend that did eventually resolve with one candle to the upside. But man, oh man, was it it was constant with the bleed before it did that.
It's gonna condition you until you just expect lower lows, and then it's gonna rip in your face. That's what it does. This type of price action, anyways.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Jackus?
What's up, Jeff?
Are they cheating the hard down frame support again?
That's their favorite activity.
Yes.
People love to sell low and buy high.
There's nothing better.
It is
Keeps us in business.
what it is. I like the market bounce here, guys. I like it. I like it. I like the fact that we went into the higher time frame support and the OI kind of got cleansed, funding turned negative, people sentiment is destroyed, frustration is high in the middle of the bull market. Obviously, due to the fact that most people are not in BTC, most people are in alts, but generally speaking, market, Bitcoin is looking very good.
Yeah, no one was long in that this morning, except somebody.
Yeah, man. We just got to stop the bleed, boys. We got to stop the bleed. This is brutal.
We will, Tucker.
We
Listen.
must. We must.
Chef is flipped. He's ready.
I am flipped. As I said, always I was lower time frame bearish. The bearishness came to an end, and I remained higher time frame bearish. But now I am higher time frame bearish and higher time frame bullish, but also lower time frame bullish. And it's time. It's time. I mean, ETH is holding up really strong. Love to see that. Love to see that. We have the spot ETF trading on July the 2nd. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you guys think of that?
I like
That's a good
that.
question. I'm not entirely certain on how I feel about it yet, but I have to imagine that the flow, we're at least going to get some level of inflows into ETH when it starts. I remember with Bitcoin, it took a few sessions before we saw the volume really start to pick up. And then when it did, obviously it came in really heavy. So I think I would be looking to see what those initial flows look like. I won't put too much weight on the initial flows, but TradFi did kind of already get an introduction into crypto through Bitcoin. So you would think that they would be willing to ape. I'd also be looking to see the reaction on ETH to those flows, because if it's a situation where, ETH starts to get the same level of flows, and I hate that I've already had to say flows like 5 or 6 times. I promise I'll stop. But
make him say breadth.
If ETH gets the same degree as Bitcoin, then you're looking at a much steeper level of price appreciation potentially. So I'm looking for that as well. And then I would also say, if it does start to get some of those larger flows that Bitcoin did, does it appreciate to the same degree? I think I just repeated myself. I had something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah. No, I want to see if the flows that we get on ETH are at the top going to be the same as the same as the size of Bitcoin, or if they're going to get progressively smaller for each ETF. That is something that I'm watching out for. But yeah, no, a few things to look out for. But I'm looking forward to it, Jack, because I think it'll be kind of a line in the sand for a lot of these shit coins to begin trending up in a more substantial way than the last few weeks.
Yeah, I still think that the ETH outperformance is here. It hasn't really deviated much over the last, since October 2023. Like if you look at even ETH BTC chart, it's like being in a hard time frame bottom, and during that bottom, it changed the sentiment completely, but it's at the same price it was in October 2023. And I think the real party, as I kept on saying, begins on the break of 4K for ETH. And so far, I think it's really shaping up to that point. Like, again, it's like what I was saying yesterday on the Discord, right? When Bitcoin broke down in January 2022. And then there was a, very quick bearish sentiment. But then there was that long ass dragged sideways action. It dragged all the way from January until end of March. And people changed their biases to being bullish again. And then the market really nuked. So I think this is a vice versa scenario where like everyone was super bearish, then ETH pumped to 4K. People like finally kind of flipped bullish, right? And then now the sentiment has changed completely once again. People think it's over again, and I think it rips higher soon. Again, when I say soon, it doesn't mean like the next day. It can spend some time here ranging as it is. We see, when we first arrived at 4K in March, we then did like a slow bleed down towards that 2.9K, right? It lasted all the way until May. Then we had that first pump. Now we get another slow bleed. And that's the hard part, because these pumps, if we look at the chart, and Tucker, maybe you can put in a blank ETH/USD chart of the current range.
ETH/USD.
Yeah, just ETH/USD, right? Just give me a blank daily chart of the current range. And what I want to discuss, guys, if you look at this chart, right, what happens is that the pump came really from nowhere in like, February and early March. And most people have not been positioned. And even then, it was kind of like ETH was trading at par with Bitcoin. So most people couldn't feel it, right? Just at the very top. But since then, the market was just slow bleeding down. Then you get a very quick pump, which gets people excited, but it's very, very short-lived, right? Like it's not this is what I always say, and you guys heard me say this, right? In crypto, the prices move up just like in TradFi, but the way they do it is different. In TradFi, you get 29 days of upside and then one big nuke. And then you get another, 29 days out of a month of upside. In crypto, it's vice versa. You get 29 days of downside and then 1 day of quick pump or so. And that's what happened for ETH here, right? Like you see that the prices are higher than they were a month or two ago. And like the trend is clearly trading upwards, but the sentiment is different. But the prices remain very good, the structure very good, and by no means I would be worried that we do not see a break of 4K. Not until like we see lower prices, right? Like nobody's a Nostradamus, nobody can see the future. We all speak in probabilities, but like until we lose the levels, then I think it's just panic, bearish opium, or anything like that. The chart is looking very, very good.
I agree. And I mean, really the whole debate to me is whether or not it's going to be a higher low or whether or not it's going to be like a quick double bottom. I'm just not in a camp where I'm expecting bearish price action, right? Like, I think locally speaking, you can make a case that OI is probably a bit offside, but on a higher time frame, I still that it's like you said, the high time frame trend is up. We have massive flows likely. Well, at the very least, we do have some degree of flows coming to ETH that will be positive for price appreciation. And yeah, no, I mean, I know the dollar is green today, but I'm going to continue to point to that as being strength that I don't really see as very high momentum, right? Like, we continue to see shit coins and altcoins, and even now in equities, some weakness over in these markets where, I mean, Nvidia was down 3% at one point today. Altcoins, some of them are getting absolutely hammered again. I'm gonna call out Whiff specifically, but even through that, you still haven't been able to really achieve much marginal upside on the dollar. Like, yes, the dollar has made a higher high, but it's low momentum in the sense that this is the third or fourth time that we've seen this behavior, and the dollar still has not broken out to the upside. The price action you see is just kind of like I wouldn't even call it a slow grind. It really does feel like a very low momentum bear flag almost when you zoom out and you look at the higher time frame. But not to say that we can't get some more shenanigans, but there is some moon astrology, Jackus, today. We're supposed to put in a low around the full moon. So
you like strawberries, Jackus?
Listen,
straight up, Jackus.
Listen, I'll agree with you, Tommy. That's and Tucker. That's straight up. And I love this confluence, though. If like the full moon says upwards and we are at higher time frame support, why not? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I like it as a confluence. Yes. I like it as a confluence. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think the timing of it is very good. I think if you don't get a puke at this point, now that we are below 64K, if you don't get a puke over the next like day or two, then I would say pretty definitively that the bottom of this higher low is in, and that you're done chopping. You're finally going to move higher. But yeah, you can kind of base it over a little bit around the timing of the full moon to that degree. But I don't want to spend too much time talking about it because I feel like the confluence in other angles, like you were saying, Jack, it's high time frame support in more ways than one. Is really the story here.
Yeah, I mean, guys, there is one thing we need to talk about, and that's panic liking the stream, because I have no idea, but when I said that I'll be back on the YouTube market check today, some people said that they cannot wait for the soybean chart and that they will not press the like button until soybean is on. And I had to laugh so much. So it's probably time to start panic liking, guys, most likely. I haven't checked it yet, but it is what it is. We know how the incentive structure works on YouTube and other, free platforms out there.
I am gonna hop off in 10 minutes.
So you got a chart up.
Yeah, let's do some range view here, and let's go over this high time frame support we're talking about. Hold
up. We should before we get into that quickly, Tommy. This one's for you.
Yeah, where do I see it going during mania? I think some of that kind of depends on timing, right? Like if we have, when do we hit our mania phase more specifically? So if we're hitting our mania phase, I think in the next 2 or 3 months, then I would say that I'd probably be looking for Pepe to top out around like 30-ish billion market cap, which is probably like a 6x from current prices. If our mania phase is much deeper, right? Like if it's towards the end of 2024, if it's even in 2025, then I think you're going to have a much larger tailwind from global liquidity coming in. And I think the cyclical peak for a lot of these altcoins can be a lot higher. But what I would say really to look for Pepe is it's probably just going to continue to print these high time frame consolidations one after another, stacking on top of each other until finally you see a blow off over a multi-week period where price goes up like 200 or 300% in the span of maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. And that to me will signal, if that's not like the cyclical top of Pepe, at the very least, it'll be the type of top generated by a liquidity event where price goes down like 80 to 90% afterward. We've seen it already with meme coins in previous cycles, like obviously SHIB. And then of course, like SHIB did almost 1 billion in volume at the day it listed on Coinbase, which is absolutely insane, by the way. But even Bonk, when it listed on Coinbase, I don't know quite how much volume it did, but it went down 80 or 90% after it had a move kind of like that. So that's what I would be looking for. I do think it is somewhat based on timing, right? Like if you think we hit peak froth in the next 2 or 3 months, then I would say like 30 billion would probably be my target. But if we're hitting it towards the end of 2025, then I think you can raise that target a lot higher. But I'm not going to like moon post too much on Pepe if we are going to have the latter scenario, because it would go pretty damn high. I think it's the best meme of the cycle, guys. Like if you think that memes go higher, if you think that altcoins go higher, work within that framework. I think that Pepe will be the best performer in that category.
Yeah, still looks good here too. It's holding where it needs to hold. It's at demand. Still in consolidation.
Dude, that chart looks so good, man. And if you look at it against like ETH as well, it's like, why even hold Ethereum here? You know, it just looks so good.
Yeah, this
I think it's probably front running a bottom with the strength that we're seeing right now. Like whether it wicks the low again because majors dump, like to me, Pepe is signaling that the market is, at least altcoins and risk markets are wanting to begin moving higher, and that they, for the most part, completed their downtrends.
Yeah, this is where, hold the green box and we're good. Really what it comes down to, even if we do get one more puke, quick deviation below, reclaim back above and go. But it looks like it wants to go here. Same thing with ETH. And that's what's kind of giving me kind of like more of a, okay, we're getting close to this, end of this sideways chop here, is the strength that we've seen in ETH and Pepe and altcoins. But if we're just talking about Bitcoin here, so we are coming into high time frame support, and it's support with, market structure. We have this area here, all this price action in here. That's all market structure. Not only that, we also have this giant FEG here. So this is also liquidity. So this is confluent with market structure. It's confluent with liquidity. So if you know what you're doing and you're good at what you do when it comes to trading and buying assets, this is where you start to bid, and this is where you look for pivots in price. I want to point out one thing, and that's volume. If you look back to the beginning of the range to the left here, we made an all-time high. This here, that's selling. That's big players. Price hit an all-time high, and that's people saying, okay, we're at a key area here. Let's unload some bags here, and that's some big selling. You see it in the volume. Even here, like same thing. Here we're getting this nice big red volume, and maybe even you could say some here, but you also have some buying here. So you have big volume sticks here, but you also have buying. So it's half buying, it's half selling, but it's also half buyers because that candle body got pushed all the way up. So when you're looking at volume, you could see a lot of selling was done here in the beginning of this range. But now when we're over here, look at this volume we're dealing with. This is nothing. This doesn't look like huge selling to me. This looks like kind of like manipulation, whether it's whales accumulating, whether it's just waiting to catch a bigger bid and wait for bigger buyers to step in. But this doesn't look like big selling here. So this move here, which has been like probably more decimating to people's sentiment, to people's portfolios than any of this was to the left. this is actually probably the end part of it. And we're not seeing that big volume, that big selling presence here. So with that, and then with the way ETH is looking and showing strength, it looks like we're ready to flip into that next part of the market cycle where altcoins take over, and we go into that last phase where Bitcoin breaks out into price discovery and goes on its run, like it historically has done. So that's what we talk. That's what we mean when we're talking about coming into high time frame support. That's what we mean. And then if you want to zoom in here on Bitcoin, you know, every bounce has been kind of sold off, you know, bounce, sell, bounce, sell, bounce, sell, bounce, sell. Another one yesterday. So, but we're coming now into this area where we have more support, where buyers should be stepping in. So we'll see if we get a reaction down here. And it looks like, you know, ETH wants to continue higher. We did catch some longs in the Discord, and we're long from a little lower. And these three lower highs here, they look primed to get taken out. We're kind of in the middle between these three lower highs and these three equal lows. So we're kind of right in the middle. And I think price is going to decide soon which way we're going to go. My guess from watching ETH in the lower time frames is that we go higher from here. But time will tell. But I mean, it looks like it wants to take out these, reclaim this demand, and then go for the yearly high. So that's my game plan. I have no reason to change it until proven otherwise. I know it's been a slow bleed. It's been shitty if you're holding a lot of altcoins, but I mean, this is not the place to flip bearish now. You got to just stick with your conviction, stick to your guns, and that's all you can do. That's the name of the game.
Great thoughts, Louis. And it's like there is some obvious contradiction in this market right now. And that's the difficult part, right? Because if you're not looking at the whole picture, it could very easily confuse you. And if you're looking at Bitcoin alone, Bitcoin looks kind of heavy here locally, but it technically is coming into high time frame support. But the important part about where we're at within this market on a larger scale is Ethereum is showing some relative strength against Bitcoin. On top of that, you look at things like ETH BTC, you look at things like ETH dominance, you look at something like Pepe, which is the premier at this point, large cap Ethereum beta, looking like it's really trying to carve out its bottom. It kind of feels like it's worth the risk to call Bitcoin's bluff here. You know, that's kind of how I feel about it, is that Bitcoin's lying. Bitcoin is just searching for something, and it's probably closer to a bottom than a lot of people are expecting, just given how mechanical this bleed has been and how conditioned people have been to expect every local uptick on Bitcoin to get sold into immediately, because eventually one of these local upticks is not going to get sold into, and that's when people get in trouble, right? Because you've been conditioned to think that every single one is just we move up, sold into right away. I mean, this is like so mechanical right here. It almost feels unnatural, right? Especially, it's lying to me. ETH BTC can't look as good as it does, and ETH dominance can't look as strong as it does if Bitcoin's about to nuke. Like, I think Bitcoin's lying. Truthfully, I do.
Yeah, it feels like games are being played. It feels like will accumulation to me as well. But I mean, yeah, there's definitely selling. Like I said, the volume's not there. Whether it's miners capitulating, whether it's whales accumulating, whatever it is, you could grasp at straws and think of any idea you want to think of, or any excuse or any reason. But at the end of the day, this is where you look for pivots. This is where you look for reversals if you're a participant and a player in this game.
I think we bounce. I think we bounce from here. I think we're bullish for the next 2 weeks.
Study the moon.
Study the moon.
Hey, Tucker, we had a good comment, man. I think we're gonna need some Haggard time right now. Haggard, would you take out the sandpaper and just smooth out some of those ridges for us.
You guys, yeah, your brains are far too corrugated. You need to become smooth. Yeah, where is it? So here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. Beyond just the moon, right? I'm going to take off these. But I am going to put on these, okay? I'm going to put on these. So there is a little bit of alpha in here. If you just study the maturation phases of the moon, okay? I know this looks like a TD9 chart or something, but I guess you kind of need to put the moons on too, but there's decent confluence between the 3 and the 5. Okay, a bottom and the 3 and the 5. So it's not perfect, and it doesn't work as well in a range. It works better while you're trending. But ones do catch tops. Study the ones. Okay, study the ones. But the 3s and the 5s, you do usually get a pop after, right? This one you got smacked, but you had a 1. So it's a little astrology brain smoothing for today, but study the 3 and the 5 in the moon maturation phases. All right, guys, that's the alpha for today. Now I'll do the micro phase, which is what this is, maturation stuff, and then the basic, the super basic, this stuff, right? But for real deeper astrology alpha, it's actually another member of our team who
Jackus is his name.
it's Jackus. No, it's not Jackus. It's not Jackus. If you want to talk about retrograde quartiles, that's it's a whole nother ball game, and that's Snorkel. So is there any alpha there that is shareable, Tommy? You're on mute.
This moon?
No, just like where we're at in terms of retrograde cycles.
No, not too much, honestly.
Liar, bro. I know you're gatekeeping that juicy alpha.
He's gatekeeping hard. He'll tell us
he
after.
is.
Yeah,
I can tell he's lying through his teeth. He knows exactly what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's proprietary.
That's proprietary. He's not kidding.
All right, guys. I'm gonna jump. Don't fade the summer solstice. Don't fade the strawberry moon.
Study Louis.
Famous last words.
See you, Louis.
See you, Louis.
See you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
See
Take
you,
care.
Louis.
Oh, somebody wanted bread.
Go to CoinX, man. CoinX is.
What about the wrapped ETH pair? Wouldn't that?
No. I don't know. There's so many. There's a lot of junk ones, bro. You need to.
There. That's it, right?
I feel like it looks like Pepe.
Yeah,
right?
That's it. Yeah. So, dude, here's the thing about all these, like the strong ETH betas, man, is they all look the exact same right now. Like the ones that are gonna rip, Pepe, Andy, Brett, like a couple other ones that I'm gonna start talking about soon, probably. They all look the exact same. They've all rejected at like the same fib levels and stuff like that too. It's overwhelmingly clear to me which Ethereum beta is set up to basically rip the hardest during ETH season, like without question, because all the charts look the same. It's like you just pick which one you like more, or you get exposure to all of them. Kind of like the Jackus strategy. That's concrete, man. But I actually do have a Brett chart too, if we want to talk about that. Like I can show you the similarities between like a lot of the top ETH beta, man. It's
hold up.
It's pretty wild, man.
It's
go log, bro. Go log. Watch this.
I know, but you gotta study the non-log alpha, Max. Study the non-log alpha.
No, it works, but I'm just saying bull market, go log for me.
Look at that.
That's nice too, but I'm saying log is nicer.
All right. We're going log. Did the 1618? No, I didn't. Close though.
So I have it on the exchange I was looking at. I mean, it's gonna print a little different. There were some wicks maybe that went a little lower, but
did it
basically
play,
It did play. It did play on my chart.
Woo!
It played.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
either way, it's either holding the 1.618 or it rejected the 1.618. But yeah, it looks
That
it
wick
looks
is
juicy,
crazy.
man. It looks juicy, man. It's I don't know, man. I've been watching this one closer because I mean they tried to FUD this thing into the ground, on that drop back in May, and I was like, all right, this is do or die. I'm like, they either save this thing here and it chads, and if it recovers from what I saw it go through, it's gonna rip hard as fuck. You can't get away from it. It's everywhere on Twitter. It is the biggest base meme. Inherently, there is going to be a base rotation, and this is kind of an obvious one where it's just like, oh yeah, it's the biggest one on base. Like, all right, it's a good meme, boys club. All right, I'll just, I'll buy into it, right? It's an obvious one. You don't have to look hard to find it, right?
I mean,
it's
dude, yeah,
obvious.
you can actually size into it too, right? Like there's really not much on base that you can actually throw size at. So, and this is so nice. I like it on log here too, but look at that. Just dipped into the FVG, ripped out. Yeah, this looks good, man. This looks good.
It does look good, man. It's just trading the chart. So yeah, I don't know. I'm bullish on it. I have a bag. I've been thinking about. I'll probably add on. I'll probably add on like for a trade some size right around here.
That's
But yeah, I
probably
mean it's just waiting for ETH to rip, man. It's all these strong Ethereum betas. They all look the exact same, man. Every single one of them. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing across the board. So yeah, I mean it's something like that. Honestly, man.
I like that. I like that a lot. Put a little bid the line, stop under the FVG, target the 1618 locally. I mean, even for like I'd even call that a scalp. That's nice.
I'm gonna Tommy the chart from you because I want to show.
Do it.
I want to show some of this stuff together. So for one, let's just start here, right? So this is ETH BTC. I tweeted this out. So most of you guys have probably seen this. When this thing breaks here, we basically topped 925 days ago. When this thing finally breaks to the upside, this is ETH season, right? You probably need to flip like this level right here. When you flip this level on ETH BTC, it's game over. You flip 0.06, 900 days of bullish reaccumulation. The Ethereum ecosystem, everything that's ETH is going to rip, right? So this is what I'm talking about when I'm like, yeah, it's obvious to me which ETH beta is going to rip the hardest. It's just kind of about concentrated bets, but diversifying to a degree, right? So if we're looking at something like Brett here, it's like this is in my opinion, like this is as clear as it gets. Like this is how I see it, right? Initial rejection at the 1.618. We had this right here. Like all of this is just like chop solidations, a little bit of jeeting, but basically this is demand right on top of your previous all-time high. So in my opinion, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe you come down here, maybe you don't. I actually think as far as base memes go, like this is in play. And then depending on how crazy this cycle gets, something like up here is actually in play too. It's not uncommon to see that. It's just like we haven't even seen ETH BTC break out yet and it's already up here. Like in theory, we should be able to 5, 10, 15x from here. Everything in ETH, all of your top ETH meme coins, all of your strong ETH beta. Moving over to Andy, right? It's like, look at it's a very similar chart. You see what I mean? How it's previous all-time high time frame demand, tag the 1.618 perfectly, and now we're just like bull chopping on top of high time frame demand. It's like look at this chart. It's like the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like you have the strong ETH beta that is showing you, hey, we are all trading relatively similarly because we are the strong ones. You know what I mean? The charts look really similar. So I mean, to me, there's a couple other ones that would probably be worth looking at. I'm not quite sure when I want to talk about them. I have to be a little bit careful, but like there's some solid ETH plays that I think are going to do really well this cycle, and like it all kind of stems back to I mean, let's literally look at like Pepe, right? Like let's look at Pepe. Like look at this chart, guys. Like this is just textbook. Like look at this trend line right here. And then like ultra low time frame on Pepe. To me, this feels like a bottom. Like this feels like shoulder, head, shoulder. Like we were looking at it like this. I mean, 100% you'd be looking for like, you know, something like this. And then this trend line breaks, shoulder, you know, and this would be your, you know, this would be the region to watch for, right? Like you'd be looking for this. The chart looked like this. You got to play tricks on yourself sometime. So, I mean, it just looks so good, man. So it's like Pepe's your like pure ETH beta to size into. Then again, you can, as of now, you can go down the chain a little bit. Like, look at Brett, look at Andy. You know, it's like some other ones as well, which, you know, we'll get into, but it's hard for me to fade this, right? Like, this just makes me so bullish, where that's why I'm like, Bitcoin's straight up lying to you. Like, Bitcoin's lying to you. Look at this chart here. Like, look at others down below. So this is others. This is your altcoin index down here. Like, look at what happens when this pair starts perking up, right? Like right around here. This is when I would say like ETH BTC started perking up last cycle, right? Like this was just despair. That was just its goblin town. This is, we're starting to perk up. It was choppy, but we perked up, right? We had some big 100% rallies in here. So in my opinion, this is, you know, this is your perk up spot right around here. Like this is where, this is your despair zone. Similarly to, you know, I'll even just mark it out. This is your despair zone. I'll put this in red. This is like, oh, it's over for ETH. ETH is toast. That's where you're at right now, in my opinion. Like this is, it's over, right? Like it is here. I can even hide these, right? Let me just, yeah, let's look at it this way. This is your despair zone. ETH BTC is dead. It's never coming back. It's over. Like that's where we're at right here. Like we're just about to exit, in my opinion, the despair zone. Something like this. So in my opinion, like the remainder of the cycle should be quite prosperous for ETH BTC, similarly to, you know, what happened in the previous cycle, right? We could even do it like this, right? Like, and just say we've exited or we're about to. Like this has to be the expectation, in my opinion. You know, it just, I'll even make this purple. We'll look at it. Like this is your FTX kind of deviation. Like everybody hates ETH season. Like sentiment is just terrible. Sentiment is at an all-time low. You know, you flip this purple box, things change real quick. You know, changes real quick.
What's that down there below?
What?
What's down below there?
This is others.
Total.
Others.
Yeah, it's others.
What is others dominance look like? Is it still kind of down only? Yeah.
I don't think it looks too bad, man. Like here, let's swap this out with others D.
No, it doesn't look terrible.
Because like this is where we were at last cycle as well. So here's,
bro, I have it. Hang on, hold up. Look at this. I had this already drawn. You're literally here.
So let's do this. Let me take this back. Look at this.
Do you
Ready?
see
Look at
that?
this. We're gonna mark it out with dots. Ready? So like despair zone. It's like this is, I mean, this is it right here, man. This is.
Now what was it might not matter, but what was the percentage higher that higher low was put in?
From here to here last cycle?
Yeah. How
so
much higher?
Bottomed around 4.8, give or take, and then it went up to 6. You know,
just pull the thing.
8.1 to 9.6.
Hang on, I got you. No, I meant like the percentage gain. So 21% higher. And then right now, oh man, it's the same, bro.
This is our bottom, man. Like others dominance before it goes crazy, like it sets a high time frame low. Like this is, if you're looking at my chart, like this is it right here, and ETH BTC is alluding to that as well, right? Like you look at this chart, you can clearly identify like where your despair region is. It's the red area, right? And what we're seeing with altcoins as a bundle, others dominance and others USD, it's kind of overwhelmingly pointing towards alt season, which is why I think that locally Bitcoin is just completely lying to everybody. I just think that Bitcoin is lying. I don't think it's going to break down because of the confluence we're seeing with altcoins. It just doesn't make sense contextually. I'd be shocked,
Yeah. I mean,
I do
look at
like
that.
that ETH dominance chart.
Same. 20% higher low. Done. Already put in. What?
I mean, a lot of alts are,
What is that?
That is
Oh, it's
so
involved.
bullish, bro. I'm stealing the chart again because I already have the drawings done, Tucker.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Draw it.
Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like, look
That
at
is
this.
ugly though, dude. That chart is disgusting.
It's disgusting, but it's bullish. Like, this is a bullish chart. This is so bullish.
That looks pretty definitively like you put the low in. I would agree.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of difficult to argue that you haven't. But I don't want to say that definitively because we know what ETH Bitcoin, how it loves to do these like super scams into lower highs. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here because I tend to agree, Max. Especially when you kind of see what the behavior on a lower time frame for altcoins that we're seeing right now. Any further selling on majors would be very forced. And I think the forced selling's already occurred on altcoins. We kind of had the same conversation a few weeks ago in April when altcoins had already done a majority of their cleansing essentially. And there just wasn't that much fuel for them to outperform Bitcoin and ETH to the same degree to the downside anymore. And even some of them, right? Like some of them, I think majors might have, I can't remember if majors made a lower low from the point where some altcoins had their just like massive dump wicks. But I do remember things like Pepe never came close to filling them again, right? We did see them just kind of perpetually grind up slowly over the weeks that followed.
Yeah, totally. Jackus, what's up, bro? How we doing?
Doing well. Listening to the cook session from you guys.
Well, maybe I'm hungry. I want the chef to cook a little bit.
You are not fed up enough this morning?
I'm never full,
the
Jackus.
It's
I have a big
lunchtime,
appetite,
bro.
Yeah.
Lunchtime.
Yeah. I mean, we kinda. I feel we kinda discussed everything.
All right, you heard it, guys. We're calling the show now. We're gonna call the show.
Where do you bid here on Bitcoin? This guy said.
Where do I bid? Like the exchange?
No.
Here's Bitcoin.
I mean, this is a the level we discussed that we should be. It's potential that we will come back and retest it, right? Again, I would be repeating myself, but I said many times that this is a hard time frame bid zone. It's highly likely we come back to it or probable, and we will see a bounce from. Yes, we are not currently seeing that on the lower time frames, but that's because the bounces on a hard time frame takes time on the lower time frames, and as people are bored in a range, they spend their time on M15, on H1. And I said multiple times, I'm not really interested in those time frames, to be honest, like apart from entertainment purposes. So the hard time frame trend remains to be set. It's a boring range. It's taking too long, to be honest, but it is what it is. And I feel one guy asked me today, like when I was saying that lots of patience is needed, and he said, isn't it that patience is always needed? And I said, yes, obviously, but this time even more. The problem is that this chart is not losing its higher time frame structure, right? So you just gotta endure it, go outside, practice some strategy, locate your emotions, and so forth. Maybe look for the fundamentally strong coins right now, because when the market flips and the coins start trending, you want to be in the outperformers. This is the time to do so, right? That's kind of what I would suggest, but by no means I see that things would be looking bad on Bitcoin or Ether side. The problem probably is that everyone is into shitcoins at the moment. So that's the big problem, right? So BTC keeps bleeding and alts have been shitting the bed, and that's tough to swallow. Not much to change there. Just crypto is really at a very weird spot right now. At a very weird spot right now where like we saw people fly away from centralized exchanges and from utility coins, and we see scams and all of that into memes. And as I was saying, the meme narrative is probably going to come to its end, just like any narrative at some point when it's when like enough buyers rotated, right? And there is no new liquidity coming in. It was PvP. All in all, it was just people selling BC coins and buying memes. The dilution got too big. I think the dilution will now be coming back to chase the strong ones like Pepe. But essentially, all the other cryptos are waiting for a trigger. I do believe the trigger could be the regulatory clarity, but I would merely be repeating myself with that one. So yeah.
I'd love to look at some of these big tech stocks that we've kind of been talking about, because as far as like ascribing a path for Bitcoin and maybe even Ethereum to follow here over the next few weeks, there are a few different variants, I think, of like, because I've been talking about how there are, you look at the top of the NASDAQ, basically every single stock up there looks, it's difficult to find a bearish chart for me. And if you look at them, many of them, as I said yesterday, and as I've been saying in the Discord, are in the process of or have already broken out of multi-month ranges, many near previous all-time highs. So I think if you're trying to like ascribe like what type of structure you think is going to play out on Bitcoin, you can maybe take some context clues from some things that have already happened over in equity markets. As far as like the variations of the way that this range could play out. But what I would say is that there haven't been any charts that have broken down from that range. And I think that's the most important bit of context to remember, that Bitcoin and ETH could continue ranging, but I still think the context of what we're seeing in equities is favorable to the range breakouts to the upside.
I think that right now more interesting than crypto is the euros.
Oh, that's true.
It's true.
That's true. I feel good about my pick, Jackus. I feel good about my pick. The Germans look good, but Spain looked very impressive yesterday, I have to say. They're making me a bit nervous.
Tommy, what are the odds on Germany now?
I think now they're plus 400, but they were plus 550 when I bought them.
Plus 400, still value.
Still good value, yeah.
You want to see the line moving in your direction, though.
Yeah. I bet, yeah, I think Spain and Germany have probably been the most impressive, but I think Portugal, by the end of the tournament, could be really tough to beat too. So we'll see.
I might have to shove Germany.
I think. Are you betting, Tucker? Are you betting?
Well, I bet on Germany
Maybe.
before the
Yeah,
tournament.
he bet on Germany. I
Okay.
might have to tail you, Tommy.
I mean, Germany is definitely one to root for this Euro, especially as they are, being supported by the home crowd a lot. Like football is so huge in Germany, and they have a good team. I think they can definitely reach a final. I think second one to do that. Spain is looking solid, gotta say. I still think that obviously if we rule out that nobody can pick France, and to be honest, I wasn't that much impressed by France, right?
I
Like I
wasn't
gotta
either.
be honest. But I think they will sort it out, and they still have a good team and will go far. But apart from France, I think Portugal still looks amazing. They are still the favorites. England is great too. Not that big of a performance either, but the problem with England is that they always fuck up in the quarterfinals or like the knockout stage, and they never make it to win something, unfortunately. So, and I like my dark horse, which is Switzerland, which is like
They
an
look,
underdog.
yeah, I like them too. I bet on Switzerland actually the other day to win. They drew, but
Yeah, me too.
I like them too. I think they're a sneaky team in the knockouts.
I'm like trying to apply my trading experience, right, into betting on this Euro, and I gotta admit I make lots of bets, and I'm currently up like 21%, which is
Nice.
maybe not sound like that much, but I'm applying like I'm treating this Euro as again a investing portfolio, and I just deposited some, and I am doing reasonable bets. And what I what I actually found to be the best, Tommy, is just putting like 0-2s or like double bets, right? Where like the team can either win or equal when I'm pretty confident on those. And that isn't, and what's funny with that, right, is that what I found is lots of people, my dad included, is looking for high returns, very small
Yes.
bets, high returns. And this is what I think is a good alpha for a lot of people, because I think in crypto, lots of people think the same way, right? That they will do very small bets and they will expect very insane multiples, like thousands of percent. And they are, when people are betting on games in football or any other sport, they are doing the same. And what I found actually works way better is when you like have very tiny, sorry, I do not know the English word, but like when you have a very tiny the number, right, that you get for the bet. I'm not sure how that one's called.
Payout?
But yeah, I suppose the payout, right? Like let's say you bet 100, 1,000, whatever, and the return is like 50% of that. So if you like whatever, I do not want to get too confused with that, but it's more the payout. What I was trying to say is that the payout isn't that big, but the probability is very big, right?
Right.
It
No,
doesn't.
I experimented with the same thing. The concept of just kind of like, because trading and betting are really the same, right? Like when we're trading,
Yeah.
we are effectively betting on the market. And I kind of took
Yeah.
a similar approach to American college football for the last few years. And I've bet for like throughout multiple seasons now. And since I've done that, I went from being an unprofitable bettor to a profitable one. But I can only bet on the markets that I understand. When I start betting on anything other
Yes.
than college football, I get cooked. And I've gotten to the point after college football season, I just withdraw it all from my account. Unless I have the rare edge on something like a futures bet, right? Like I think this person can win a tournament. in the NBA or soccer, that sometimes that'll play out well. But no, I totally agree. It's all about playing probabilities. And with betting, it's like you said, most people want to do a parlay. Most people want to hit 100x long, when in reality, the easier way to compound an account and ultimately make successful returns is always going to be to play your convictions that you have high probabilities on already, rather than always swinging for a home run.
Yeah, I think you added a good one. And I know that we are kind of discussing football, but if you guys just substitute football for crypto or anything, it works just as well, right? It's just that it's the current hot thing. And I like what you added, Tommy, there, that you were betting on college, like American football, right? And the thing is that you said that you understand it. Like it was something that you have your expertise on, and then you make small, concentrated, high probable bets on it. And when you think about it, what I'm starting to see is a pattern in everyone that's successful within these, bets, investing, trading, whatever, is that it's very similar. It's never, the get rich quick scheme where you're trying to do small bets and with big payouts on things you don't understand. So it's something you do understand on. You make high probable bets, you risk little. And this way you go far and essentially end up winning big. But you need to have the patience for the compound. And that's kind of the way I'm playing the euros. I'm enjoying it, right? Especially when I'm betting on, I'm enjoying it even more. I love looking at it, looking to see the performance, and then seeing if I can translate it into those bets.
It makes it more fun too. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But Max, what were you working on in the background here?
Yeah.
I saw you just doodling in the background. I wanted to ask you what you were doing.
Oh, he's doodling, huh?
I'm doing more than doodling, man. I'm painting a masterpiece here.
He's Picassoing.
I'm just so bullish. I'm just so bullish, man. It's just it's a game of patience. It's a game of patience. But up top we have ETH BTC, and it's just kind of about identifying those despair zones, right? Like, where is sentiment horrible? Where is our kind of deviation? Where's that deep value territory? That's what we're looking to nail down. And I think it's pretty obvious that we're in deep value right now. The red box is on ETH BTC. For those that don't know what this is, it's just basically how Ethereum is performing against Bitcoin. So red box is like your deep value territory, right? Like, where is that premier reaccumulation? Below that, we've got others dominance, which is basically small and mid cap performance versus majors, right? Represented as a percentage. And what do we see every single time as ETH BTC is in this despair zone, the red zone? Others dominance, which again is just kind of a barometer or a gauge for how your small and mid cap altcoins are performing against majors. It does this little like dance. It sets a high time frame low in a bear market, then it pumps, and then it just nukes like it's doing right now, but it doesn't go on to make a lower low, right? It's like 1, 2, 3 marked out by blue dots. That always seems to happen around this phase of the cycle when Bitcoin has about 300 days left before a global top. Because on the bottom, I've got Bitcoin. So you can see here that Bitcoin typically trends upwards or is in bullish conditions for another 300 plus days. And then altcoins during that time, they go nuts. So it's just like the data is overwhelmingly clear to me. It's just locally Bitcoin looks heavy, and I want them to just rip this off like a band-aid. Like, you want it to go down, then fucking do it already. Like, nuke this shit down, grab your liquidity, and like, let's get this show on the road. We've been here for 4 months. But the way that I look at it, higher time frame, right? Like ultra high time frame. I don't know how to refute this, right? Like, this looks crystal clear to me, right? Barring some black swan, I guess. But like, it looks overwhelmingly clear to me.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with. I will say it is. You just got to get above that, man. That like 19.5% level, or is that ETHBTC? Sorry, I was thinking ETH dominance, but yeah, 19.5 on ETH dominance. But what is that purple box at on ETHBTC?
Yeah, the purple box is at 0.06.
Okay, yeah.
It's at 0.06. So,
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, guys. So, what do you think?
I think we're going higher, man. I think we're going higher. That's all there is to it. Even if we go lower.
I love that smile. I love that smile. I see in Max's face.
What do you think the smile is saying, Jackus? Can you read the smile? What's it saying?
Saying higher.
The smile sees what is about to come, and he's just going to comfy see his plan unfold with a nice stimmy every single morning.
Yeah, it's I don't know how I can not be fully exposed to Ethereum beta at this point. You know, like when I look at this chart, Jackus, I don't see a more obvious play. And like I don't want to really own that much Sol stuff. I own a little bit because it's like Sol ETH looks kind of weak right now, at least locally. There might be another big Sol rotation, but right now it's like Ethereum and Ethereum beta. It just kind of feels like an easier play in the coming weeks. It really does.
I think the market has, the market's gotten more efficient in that the winners consistently win in crypto. But one thing I would say is that, yeah, and especially in that sense, like the charts that are going to win over the next few weeks, we've seen in crypto over the last like year, they will front run the bottom through strength or through price, if that makes sense. So if they're not bottom by price, they're usually front running a bottom by strength. And the market is kind of telling you to a large degree which altcoins those are going to be. So I think, for me, if we do have a further puking, like the alts I'm looking to buy are the ones that are showing the most amount of strength today, or the ones that have just completely capitulated and are clearly at discounts. And I'm going to once again single out Whiff here. I think Whiff could be in a position where it's finally going to be in a really good spot to buy for the first time in a long time. But it is probably in capitulation right now.
100% it is, man. 100%. Let's look at Whiff, man. Like when I look at, this is full blown. Like this is,
my God. You've re-entered the cloud, bro.
You have re-entered the cloud.
It's over.
The only hope I can offer is like somehow that's like an expanded range like this. You know what I mean? And like this is your range low, which is, it's cheating a little bit, but it's not totally illogical, right? You probably want to do it more like this. Like I could see this as a range low because we had, so if you want to trade horizontals, right, we could look at it like this, say, okay, we are deviating right now, clearly. Why is that? Why did that do 2 dots? Weird. So, you could look at it like this and go, all right, this is our range. Kind of ignore the cloud for now, but you could for sure be in this region, right? Like you could be doing this, and this could just be like a monster deviation and a reclaim of this, maybe you go a little bit lower or something. Like a reclaim of this would look kind of nice. You know what I mean? So, I don't think it's going to die, right? But I think it's kind of a result of, I think it's more of a result of like, of this chart, Sol ETH, like this chart, like why would Whiff, which is, up until this point, kind of the premier Sol beta, why would Whiff hold up when you have this chart, Sol ETH looking just a wee bit heavy for now, right? I don't think it's cooked. I'm just saying like Sol ETH looks heavy. So it's like, it's not surprising that that Sol Beta is not doing too well, right? So I think for Sol ETH, right, it kind of comes down to like, you know, I like this region right here. I'll draw it as a region. I like this spot right here for Sol ETH, like right here. I like this level quite a bit. So I think if Sol ETH can come into this level right here and Whiff, you know, can manage to drop a little bit or even hold around here. Let me just remove this cloud. We don't really need it right now. And this ends up being a major deviation. Then I think Whiff starts looking good on like a nuke, capitulation, reclaim of $2. Then I think it looks really solid. But I think you're probably going to see, like, you're going to end up probably seeing like this for Sol ETH, and then we can talk about working our way up. And then at the same time, you're going to see Whiff try to do this, if I had to guess. I don't know what
No,
you guys
Whiff
think
is
about that.
Whiff is just that. It's being pumped by scamfluencers and it's over.
You don't think there's any
Not
hope?
completely untrue, even if you're joking.
I'm not.
You think it's done forever, Jackus?
Yeah, it looks like shit.
I don't know
Like,
if I think it's done forever, but
why would you buy Whiff right now? There is no meme, there is no history behind it. The chart looks like ass, and
because
you
the
know
dog
why.
has a hat.
Yeah,
Dog
but
has a hat.
I mean that worked when the price was trending upward, but now, you know.
The dog only has a hat.
Yeah, exactly. You said it well.
I still think that Whiff is emulating that really old Bitcoin pattern from 2017, 2018. I remember we were talking about it like last week. To actually see it capitulate like this, though, is pretty. I didn't know if it was actually going to do it, but here we are. I do think that Whiff will probably go a little bit lower. Not that I would be shorting it here, but probably does bleed a little bit further. On the topic of outperformance, though, like, you can nail the USD bottom, and I would still say that there are probably going to be some other things that outperform it for quite some time, until it can go up, right? It can go up, but I think you'll probably be better off holding other meme coins still for a few more months, even if you do snipe the Whiff USD bottom. So there is quite a bit of risk to trying to catch that Whiff knife, right? Like, maybe it doesn't come back and it's cooked forever. That's one risk. And the other risk is, if you do catch the Whiff knife, how long before it outperforms again? And I would say that could be a pretty long time. So
I wouldn't listen. I'm not saying that by some miracle Whiff cannot come back. I just do not think so, and I would wait a long time. You know, with the way it's looking right now, you would have to wait a long time before it does some recovery, like sustainable one, like some bottoming rotation. Because, like, I wouldn't. And if you are bag holding, good luck, man.
Max, can you look at the Bitcoin 2017 cycle?
Yeah.
You know what consolidation I'm talking about, right?
Oh man, yeah, I do.
It's a little bit earlier than Pepe, in my opinion, from a cyclical standpoint.
Which one are you looking at, Tommy?
You're gonna have to zoom in a little bit more, but the one from July,
yeah,
of 2017,
like right here. Oh, 2017.
Yeah, so like right there.
Okay.
And if you zoom in more, I think you can see the structural resemblance to it a bit more, but you can already kind of see it from there. Like, this is that capitulation leg.
I see what you're talking about.
Yep.
So that's actually pretty clean. So let me.
This is the only hope for Whiff, though, in my opinion. Like, if that doesn't play, it's cooked forever.
Yeah, see, this is okay. Let's do this here. This could be a fun little exercise. So let's look at it like this. We're going to redo all this from scratch here. So it's possible we could be doing this. Let's mark it out. Here's Bitcoin. I'll turn off the candles.
I mean, this honestly hits the nail on the head to an extent, right? Like a lot of what we're seeing with Sol memes and Sol is a result of just people PvPing each other and chasing the next green candle. It's on hyperdrive on Solana right now, which, as we saw, was a tailwind when price was going up, but it's now a huge headwind when that momentum dies out, because you just have so much dispersion throughout the entire Solana ecosystem that nothing can sustain pumps. Like there was a dog coin called Billy this week that probably goes, it probably does go to $1 billion a few months ago, and it can't, I don't even think it can sustain a pump above 100 million. So I think everybody just wants to catch that super low cap Solana gem, and they're just tripping over each other to exit and find it. It's bad.
No, he said it, Tommy. It's bad, and it shows you the current state of the market. Really, the market is waiting for a trigger to start fundamentally trading kind of higher again. It's what I've spoken about. It's the dilution from all the memes right now, and I think what is going to happen is that all this dilution will now be chasing back the strong ones, because I think there is still a space for strong memes and always will be. But what we saw this cycle was like another entire universe of just meme coins. Like in the past cycles, we saw a huge dilution of shit coins, but this cycle we saw a dilution of shit coins and then entire universe of meme coins, and all these memes will be chasing back the strong ones. Is my guess.
I agree. The flight to safety.
Yeah, the flight to safety, the strong memes. Yeah, it's probably going to be like that. So I kind of like this fractal, but the problem with this is that it only begins to be true the moment Whiff would have to flip $4. Until then, anything is basically just a bearish retest.
I think Jack, is I would say that it would be this pivot point right here. I don't think it needs to go to $4. Like I think you could basically get back above here, and the fractal could look pretty good.
I don't agree with that because of the market structure, which Whiff has slightly different than Bitcoin had back then. There is another fundamental reason, and that's that Bitcoin actually has fundamentals behind it, right? Whereas Whiff doesn't. Whiff only has that meme, which kind of ran out of its course.
Jack, it's a dog with a hat, brother.
No, Tommy. It's just a dog with a hat. Right now, it's just a dog with a hat.
I didn't expect this to be an Ansem social token, and then it really did end up trading like one, didn't it?
Unfortunately, yes, it did.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, I was just gonna say that it had a chance to continue higher. You know, even in May, it still had a good chance to continue and go parabolic, but the beam ran out of new buyers and broke its structure, and that's why you see the continued sell-off. It's legit over.
I don't know if I agree it's completely over, man. Like I'm with you that I'm with you, okay? But I think at this point of the cycle, to say that something that has performed tremendously well is over, even before we start to see like real froth and excess. Like Jackus, you're in the camp that alt season hasn't even begun yet, right?
Max, has Whiff really performed well?
It has.
It's
Yeah.
all,
It has.
all, no,
It has
all I
this cycle.
see. No, all I see is bottom accumulation from scamfluencers. I see a big marketing, big bump, which was in a straight line. If you put in the just the Whiff empty chart, right?
So let's look at Whiff versus. So Pepe is the flagship of this cycle, right? Like no question
Wow,
about it.
man, what a deviation on that high. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at this though, right? Like Whiff Pepe is the pair we need to focus on because it's been, I mean, it's
Yeah.
the strongest one this cycle, right? So this chart moves up. Whiff is performing better than Pepe. It breaks down. Pepe is performing better than Whiff, right? So it's like it
Yeah.
actually this cycle for a large portion of time, all the way from end of 2023, all the way until it topped in April, like 4 months, it actually was trending up against Pepe. So it's like it actually has performed well this cycle. So I mean, this breakdown here is, I mean, this is obvious, right? If this pair broke down, Whiff versus Pepe. But I wouldn't be too quick to say it's completely over. Like maybe we could, come back into this demand region right here. Like this is, I mean, if this pair is going to trade, which clearly it does trade because look, it broke down and it worked. If we view this entire region right here as, maybe a return to demand, it's possible you could see this, this kind of hold here, right? Like I just wouldn't say, when we haven't even seen Bitcoin dominance roll over yet, I wouldn't be too quick to say that this is dead.
I'm saying Whiff. I'm not saying Pepe or others.
I know,
saying
but you know
Whiff.
what this pair is, right?
I do, but if you look at the like just Whiff pair, just Whiff USD, right? You will see where Pepe already had like, this is kind of its second cycle. I mean, it's its first, but it's already had that first kind of leg. Then it started to get listed on all the exchanges, and now it's having another. It keeps holding its market structure. That's way different to Whiff. We've just had a listing on a few lower cap exchanges. It then had an insane bump during the meme season, which has played out, and it had no continuation. It just had one single bump and distribution, and now breakdown. That's very different to Pepe.
The big
Yeah,
difference for me between Whiff and Pepe, and I think I might probably say something that Max is about to say, is that Pepe was around for at least a year before Whiff. At least the initial pump. So it kind of had that.
Exactly.
It pumped to 2 billion and then it cooled off back to minus 80%. And maybe I'm still curious, right? Is Whiff going to do where it capitulates and V recovers, or is it going to do something like what Pepe did, where it obviously nuked the structure and then it took a really long time to recover? But I think ultimately Whiff is always going to be that beta bet on Sol. So if you think that Sol is going to outperform the rest of the market at any point in the rest of the cycle, then Whiff will probably outperform again, just because it was kind of, or maybe there's a new Solana dog coin of kind of the the month. But I think Whiff has enough stickiness. Yes, it's pumped by scamfluencers. Pepe was pumped by scamfluencers back in the day once. I mean, I remember that. And I remember when that was talked about, that being a hindrance for price too. So I don't want to be overly bearish on Whiff, because to Max's point, it was the top performer in the market for about 3 or 4 months. And I think, I don't want to just necessarily, when we talk about what people are going to bid first on a low or a bottom, that's usually going to probably remain the case that Whiff is one of them, even if price looks like it's in a complete free fall right now.
No, I agree with you, Tommy. Like Whiff can definitely bounce here, especially like if we are expecting Bitcoin and Ether to go up. Like I would guess that Whiff is going to provide a bounce here, right? Like when I say it's over right now, that doesn't mean it's just going to keep selling from this very moment. I just want to clarify that, especially for people that are new and do not understand my or our language. So it can definitely bounce. The problem is going to be that it's lost its market structure with where Pepe, it has not. So what happens during these is that when there is a market upside, like broader market upside, right, where you'll see Bitcoin move up, ETH move up, you'll see Whiff bounce up as well, but it will be heavily underperforming at that point. Obviously, that is unless it would break the market structure back to bullish again. But I do not see a trigger for it, especially with the way the price is looking now. And I think this is what kind of separates those coins that make it in the long run and those that do not. And again, Pepe, all this time that memes are selling off, the market is selling off, Pepe is holding the structure so far, all right? But it is. And that's way different. If you look at Flocky, if you look at Whiff, not good, man, not good.
So
not
what are
saying
you
that-
saying though? What are you saying? Just that Pepe's better? Like I agree.
I think we all agree with
That
that.
doesn't
Frog
mean
is a frog for life.
the frog is clearly better. Yeah, that's not. But you're saying Whiff is cooked, correct? Jackus.
Wait, what? Once again?
So we
Sorry.
agree that Pepe is a strong meme, right? It's better than Floki.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
are you still saying Whiff is cooked basically, and why would you hold it over Pepe?
Basically, like when I say it's dead, that doesn't mean like I'm seeing some retarded comments here, but whatever. I'm used to those. Then people come back and say you were right, Jackus. I can be wrong. That I'm saying that like I'm wrong here and there. It's just that over the long run I'm more right. But the thing is that I got attacked even from lots of communities. So I learned to ignore those comments, ignore communities, and stand behind my opinion. It's working very well in the long run.
I wouldn't get upset about what they have to say, Jackus. I mean, if you are bag holding a lot of Whiff right now, you're probably not in a good mood anyway.
Yeah, and then comes Jackus and starts shitting on you, telling it's over, right? I mean, I get that, right? For that, I apologize, but someone has to be kind of brutally honest with you sometimes. And I'm not like just spitting out emotional opinions, right? I'm proving that based on facts, based on the market structure, which is very different. Actually, let me share a chart here. All right, one sec. To discuss more what I mean, because I suppose it can be interpreted in many ways with words, right? So I will rather show it. Wait, one sec.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember when Donald first got bearish on Whiff, and the reaction was not encouraging, is what I would say.
Yeah. So no, it's legit as you said it, Tommy, right? Like Donald has been here for a while and he has proven himself. He can be wrong as well, but his analysis is the one to look for. And he was bearish, if I remember, on Wave. Well, I haven't been following that closely, but I remember he took some shit on it for it as well. Do you think those people come back and apologize to him? No, but he has to withstand that hate. So when I talked about Max, that Whiff really didn't do anything, this is what I meant, right? Like it had a bunch of low crap exchanges where scamfluencers bought. Then it started to pump like crazy, right? But you did not hear about Whiff and what it's going to do down here, really. You heard about it all the way here, right? Here it was, going to change the world, everything. This is the distribution phase. So it did not really do anything. It just had scamfluencers accumulate, pump it, and scamfluencers distribute. And then here it still could have continued higher, but it broke down on this one. And then you see the continued sell-off. You are not seeing a bit. You see every single bounce to get retraced from the first very resistance, right? So that's not what you want to see. And when I say it's dead, that doesn't mean, again, that doesn't equal it cannot bounce. That means that it can bounce. Maybe it can even go slightly higher, but like it's going to produce something well. So this is like you can get Bitcoin moving higher to 90K. This is what Whiff is going to do, right? And then maybe Bitcoin stops at 90K and Whiff will continue to bleed. It's like EOS, right? If you were to look at EOS, which was the biggest one in 2017, this is what it's doing, right? It will always use an excuse to go up with the rest of the market, but then just keeps on selling, right? This is what it's doing, and this is on the USD pair. So on the BTC pair, it will then look like this. And I by the way, I was showing this like somewhere around here, not exactly sure when, but it's kind of funny how it's playing out. It's a perpetual bleed. And this is right.
Manipulation.
Oh,
Manipulation.
wow.
That's a horrible chart, bro.
That's tough.
No, this is most shitcoin. This was like the biggest ICO in history of crypto. By the way, it was trading in, if not top 5, then definitely top 10. Right at some point, this is all it did, and then it keeps on bleeding because it's not really useful. It's nothing. So when I'm saying for Whiff is that it really didn't do anything. It had its first listing pump. This is the distribution. What is going to save it now? Like, this is a textbook sell-off, textbook breakdown, and then you'll always see, something like this. Why would someone buy Dog Whip Head when they can buy Pepe? Dog Whip Head isn't a native meme. Pepe is a native meme of the internet.
So Jack, let me ask you this though. Okay, simply as a result of, you would agree that the true alt season has not actually commenced yet, correct?
Yeah.
We're in agreement. Don't you think that it's possible that even though this is an ugly chart and this is without a question distributive at this point, this chart could be saved and actually send higher just as a result of the entire crypto asset class going much higher?
I think this cycle is going to be particularly different in some ways, where we see certain sectors move up while the others don't. And I think I agree with you that I think we will see a major altcoin adoption this cycle. We will see Bitcoin dominance to drop lower, but I'm not seeing Whiff continuing in that regard. What you would need to see for Whiff to turn bullish again, because until then it's just hopium. It's like when it's like exactly the same when we are looking at Bitcoin and anyone entertaining 44K. That's not a level you work with right now. You start working with 44K the moment you lose 60, but not until then. And the same thing with Whiff is here. You are not entertaining any upside until you at least get a reclaim of the market structure, right? Like this is just continued sell-off. There is no bid, nobody's buying. It's just bag holders now starting to, some bag holders realizing early, but some will realize it when it's up here because they'll be still hopeful this comes back. I've seen this so many times. Even
before alt season. Like, we're not talking about Bitcoin a year after the halving. We're talking about like we're about to go into alt season and you still think this chart is cooked, like doomed. So here's the thing, Jax. I agree with you. My only counterpoint is that I think that a lot of these charts will be saved as a result of alt season. I'm not saying it's going to outperform Pepe, but I'm saying I'd be shocked to see a lot of these charts go on to literally just zero and like bleed forever with alt season about to commence. Truthfully.
No, I agree with that. So like what can happen is that the Dog Whip Head Whiff, let's just say Whiff.
I like when you pronounce the Jackass.
All right. When it will keep on bleeding, maybe like given how it's looking now, maybe when it's down here, then it can pump with the rest of the market, just like EOS does, right? Like it always pumps with the rest of the market, it does some upside and then bleeds to new lows. So it can pump with it. Maybe, let's say it has new highs at some point in future, which I do not see reason for. Again, if the market participants can buy they can right now flip Whiff into Pepe, right? Let's say the alt season comes, as you say, Max. Whiff will be pumping Pepe will be pumping to new highs, while Whiff will be merely trying to reclaim its structure. Why would people not chase Pepe? They'll be chasing
Hey,
Pepe all the way.
let me counter your point just with a hypothetical. Zoom in on Pepe from March to May. Right in there. That was a very
Yeah.
clear textbook breakdown, and it was a very reflexive bounce back. That kind of looks the same to me actually as the Whiff chart right now. That structure looks very similar to me.
Yeah, so there is two key differences. One is that we were coming back to retest its higher time frame listing wick. That is very, very important. Second is that it was coming back, and then when it retraced, right? So you like had a structure here, and this is where you can apply that fractal you had on Bitcoin, right? So we came back and flipped the market structure, right? And then we confirmed it with another break right here. That was like full send, full buy. Here it could have still kind of got sold off, although again we had the different context of the fact that we were again, Pepe had its first leg higher, right? It then had a bottom accumulation and then another leg. We've never had that. We've never had a listing pump. This is just scam influencers loading up. So, and again, the big difference also is fundamentally. That fundamental difference is huge. And I think it's funny when we talk fundamental with Pepe, fundamental with Whiff, but it truly is, because Dog with Flat is just artificially created meme from here. Pepe has been around for ages on the internet. It's a native meme, and that's a key difference. So that's, again, for this, I do not know why, but let's say it happens. You flip bullish the moment that we get like above, oh shit, wrong to the moment we get above, right? That's when you can start getting bullish, like on this one or this leg. Not right here.
I agree that it needs to prove itself. It definitely needs to prove itself. Like it needs to put in a big bounce and start basically chop solidating above 250 or 3, and then you could take a swing at it and it would actually make sense. But
notice Max, how it's different where we were here also having a triangle, right? It was a very small squeeze, then break lower and immediately send higher. Notice how here it was making these distributive highs after highs.
We did the same thing for Pepe. If you zoom in more, it's a different time frame, but it's the exact same structure in my opinion. There's a triangle on Whiff. There's a triangle on right there. That's the same exact thing. You mean
this one?
Yes, exactly. It's a very similar structure. It's on different time frames. So all I'm saying is like, I still don't think it's cooked because the fractal is very, very similar. You made a good point though. Like Pepe had its previous all-time high to retest. Whiff doesn't exactly have that, but it might get bailed out just as a result of altcoins being bullish because that's alt season. If ETH BTC goes crazy and everything goes nuts, it might be saved, right? And we've seen a very similar fractal play out before. But I agree with you. Like it's clearly distributive. Like clearly people are dumping it. But
I do not think you can say that this is like just because you had some lower time frame similarity here, which I do not even think is that of the same.
Jack, because that's very similar, bro. Zoom in on that. No. That's extremely similar. Zoom in a little bit. Go to like the 12-hour though.
No, I get you, but you cannot say just because on one pair, on one small time frame, something resonates with something that it's the same, because you have to put in the higher time frame context next to it, and that's very different. You have to put lots of the other stuff as well.
But what I'm
And that's
saying
different.
but what I'm saying is that the high time frame context is actually really the only bullish thing about the Whiff chart, is because I do believe, and I think we share this belief, that altcoins are about to perform tremendously well in the near future, right? That's the context is the bullish part for me. The chart looks terrible. The high time frame context is the bullish part for me. If the high time frame context
Would
was
that-
not bullish, this chart's cooked. You know?
What I see again is that there was a final leg higher. We came back to support, and then there was the distributive phase. And then look, we broke down, and what you see here is just continued sell-off. Like there is a slow bleed. Market participants are just selling, and there is no bid. Look at this. This is a market capitulation.
Yeah.
But there is absorption and immediately higher. This is way different. This little part
I agree.
is very different.
I
And
would have rather
all
had
of
Whiff-
this.
I would have rather had
all
Whiff
of-
puke really hard right here than just do the
all
slow
of-
bleed.
All of this is very different to this one, because this one was happening within. This one is like the whole structure. And I'll give you now a perfect example. And that's right here. This one, this is what you had here, right? This is where you started. And what you get is that you get the sell-off, then you get this slow bleed right here. And then you get more sell-off because there is no bid. And what you may get, and I think you cannot say that it's going to play out.
You would agree that the context is much different for that
Yes,
Bitcoin
yes,
crash. Way
yes,
different.
Yes, that was what I was gonna say right now. That I do not think you can apply this fractal right to it. That is going to play out the same exactly like that. Because again, if we are bullish on the market, like Bitcoin and Ether, again, this is what I said at the beginning. It will be bouncing with the rest of the market. But when that bounce is done and then BTC pauses, it will just relentlessly bleed, because why would you buy Whiff now? Like the meme is not that, again, that meme that it's a dog with a head is, or as Tommy likes to say, it's a dog with a head.
Okay, Jack, so I gotta press you on the meme, bro. Okay, first of all, I don't care about the memes at all. Shiba Inu is not a good meme. SHIB is a bad meme. No one knew what SHIB was.
Terrible meme.
No one knew or cared about SHIB until it pumped, and then suddenly everyone liked it. So I don't care that the meme is not.
Do you know why SHIB pumped? Because
why it pumped?
It was
an Ethereum Foundation insider scam, man.
Obviously, but it was the second beta to Doge. There was nothing like in prior cycle. There was only Doge as a meme, and then there was SHIB, right? But now, when you have so much dilution of memes, there is no higher beta anymore. Like we already had all these higher betas. Now what it's going to probably come back to is that we will have to go to quote unquote fundamentally strong memes. Quote unquote.
That's not real, bro. That's
not real. That's not real.
What did you just say? That's not a real
That's
thing.
a myth created by big VC.
Yeah, fundamentally strong memes, Jackus. Come on, what are you talking about? That's not they're meme coins, bro. They're just ETH and Sol beta. Whiff is nuking here. Yes, shitfluencers are dumping. They have been dumping, clearly. But I would argue that Whiff, being up until this point the premier large cap Sol beta, is nuking because Sol ETH looks like shit. I think that's if Sol ETH pumps again, Whiff is gonna pump. In my opinion, it's that simple.
If Whiff is a social token for Ansem, though, I can get on board with it being top forever. Like to that extent, I can understand it. The recognizability of the meme, if you were to ask a normie on the street, like, hey, have you seen this frog? Yeah, I've seen it. Hey, have you seen this dog with a hat? Probably not. And I think to that degree, you could argue is both bullish and bearish for Whiff, right? Because there are probably, if memes get to the right crowd, a large enough crowd, they're maybe more incremental buyers, but also there's just not that same level of recognizability that Pepe has. You know, we've all, like, even people I know who have no experience in crypto at all, and they really don't even post memes, they've probably used the Pepe frog to some capacity at some point. Dog with the hat, though. Dog with hat. Not really. It is kind of like a CT meme in that regard. Like, now I'm not gonna call it dead necessarily, but it does kind of need to prove that it's going to come back before I get adamantly bullish on it, especially over other memes, as I was saying earlier in the show. It's really kind of a victim of the nature of conditions on Solana, which are just overtly PvP and everybody just tripping over each other to try and dump on the other person. To some degree, you could argue that the crowd that's trading on chain on Sol is maybe too battle scarred at this point. But yeah, I guess we'll see. You're going to need a big player, though, to step in and save Whiff, in my opinion, like a fund that's going to want to try to co-opt the meme and then sell it higher, similar to how obviously Wintermute bought the Pepe bottom, and they've been market making it ever since. But I think you probably do need a fund like a Novogratz or someone like that to step in and put the low in on Whiff, start marketing it a bit more substantially before you get super optimistic again. But I'm not ready to call it dead just yet. I like the dog that has a hat. We'll see if he survives, but that's what I would say.
I mean, obviously it's easy to call stuff it's dead when it's actually dead, right? Like, everyone is going to cheer on Whiff when it's up here and say it's the next biggest meme. Everyone is going to say that Whiff is dead here. It's that's not hard. It's hard predicting that early on. Again, when I said fundamentally strong memes, guys, just to clarify that, I was obviously joking. What I meant with that is that the strong memes will survive within the market. I think there will always be room for speculation on the meme coins, but it will be on the actual memes with strong community. Why, again, I ask, why would someone buy a coin that's, again, the problem with Whiff, and when you compare it to SHIB, is that SHIB was the only higher beta to Doge back then. There was no other memes. This cycle, we had an insane, absolutely insane dilution of meme coins. When you have so many, why would you hold something like Whiff? It's not a great meme. It got pumped clearly by influencers. Then,
doggy dilution, man. That's the phrase that we've been using, is doggy dilution. There are so many damn dog coins. And I even said, I've been saying on this show, I don't think that you're going to ever see another dog coin come from like sub 100 million, sub 50 million market cap and get to over $1 billion again. I just think there's already plenty of dog coins to choose from. And now in every single variety, right? Like what I might have some dog coin exposure myself, but that doesn't mean that I think that it's a meme that can get to over $1 billion, just because you have SHIB, you have Doge, you have Bonk, you have Whiff. They're all above $1 billion in market cap. And at the same time, many of those dog coins, like, they check the unit cost bias. At a certain point, retail's not going to care about the next dog coin. They're probably not even going to care about the fact that you have already 4 to choose from. They're going to be looking for something else because they're going to be feeling a little bit late. GCR has long foretold the great cat rotation that's probably coming at some point. But I'm still somewhat skeptical about that, but I won't fade GCR, man. I will say, though, doggy dilution is real. You can trademark that, stamp it, put it on a coffee mug, but
I
there
think
are too many dog coins.
Tommy, one thing that you said that I agree with, I think you talked about this a long time ago, like a long time ago. One of the biggest issues for Whiff, as simple as it may sound, is the unit cost bias.
Yeah.
Like, I think for us, it doesn't really matter, but I think a lot of like the normie crowd has an issue not owning a quadrillion Whiff. You know what I mean? Like, I can only buy 100 Whiff. that'd be a big investment for a lot of people. So I
That's
think
a big
for them,
issue too.
they can't prospect out what if this goes to $1. They love to do that because they don't know what market cap is, and that's actually, like, it sounds silly, but I think it could be a problem for some people. They'd rather own a gorillion of some other shit coin, than just buy 5 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 Whiff, whatever they have.
Another one, Max. Look at the lower time frame structure here. Pepe had, right, and the Whiff that doesn't. There is no listing wick. Sorry, there is no listing wick. There is no support here. It's just been a market TWAP grinding higher. Here there is no support. There's no support here. This was a nice confluence of lower time frame support with a higher time frame, listing wick with the first pump right before it got listed on major exchanges. Big difference. Again, I ask, why would you hold Whiff instead of Pepe here? At this point, I understand it made sense.
No,
earlier.
you shouldn't, Jack. Like, you shouldn't. I would never advocate at this point, given what I've seen, that there's any reason to hold Whiff over Pepe right now. Do I believe, though, that this chart is going to full on Bart Simpson and go back down sub 50 cents? That is not the opinion. That is not my belief. I think that if Bitcoin had already probably global topped or was in a distribution phase, and ETH was already at 8 or 10K, and we were looking at a chart that looked like this, it is fucking over. Okay. But this chart, the context for me is throwing me off. I don't think that the context of the broader market will allow this chart to go back to zero. I don't think so. The chart looks heavy. I don't think it looks good. And I also don't think you should knife catch, even if this is the bottom, which I don't know if it is or it isn't. But I have a problem with something that has been so strong topping this early in the cycle, because I think we're still early in the cycle. If this was later in the cycle and the chart looked like this, sell everything. But I don't think that I don't think the context will allow for that. But I could be wrong. Like, this cycle could be different, right? But I still believe we're about to enter that time period of, like, the rising tide that lifts all ships. We should get altcoin mania at some point this cycle, and I think it's sooner rather than later. Whiff has been strong. Not strong now, but it has been strong. Up until June, it's been strong, right? And it's getting destroyed. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but I don't think it's going to go back to, like, sub 50 cents or something like that, just because I think the whole market's going to move up. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
All right. Let's see what the market does.
Market
I'm
with
just like what I basically started this conversation with was was that you shouldn't be, like, my message was that you shouldn't be buying here, right? I mean, again, if you were to buy a meme coin, I think there are better memes. That doesn't mean it cannot bounce. But essentially, this structure is not looking good. There is no support. The meme is kind of dead too. That was my point. I'm not saying it cannot by some miracle get start trending again. But for that, as an trader, investor, you can you should wait for structure reclaim first, at least. So until you see at least something like this, sustainable, bottom accumulation after this sell-off, because you just had a, market structure break. Until you see that, you should wait for this, and then see some strengths here, maybe, or you want to see a reclaim of this level. Until then, again, I think, everything. Many other memes are just better buy.
I agree with you. I actually do agree with you.
Wait, sorry, Max, what were you gonna say?
No, you're good. I was gonna say, like, I actually agree with what you're saying, Jack. It's my only thing is like, and I don't know. Like, I just think that I think that total 2 and total 3 and others are about to move up, and I'd be surprised if even just kicking and screaming, right? Like Whiff got dragged up higher just as a result of everything going up. But like, I agree with you. Like, this isn't like a, you don't want to try to catch that knife. Like, it makes sense to wait for reclaims for sure, but it's like, I'd be surprised to see total 2 and total 3 go up vertical and see this chart go to 0. Like, I just don't. I think the context is off, but I don't disagree with you. Like, your analysis is on. It is. But yeah. Anyways, Tommy, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's worth talking about, guys, because it's what we were saying. It's a market that has very much rewarded winners until it hasn't. We can look at something like Celestia and even say, as definitive proof of that these coins, we thought some of them would have already bottomed at this point, but you truly don't know if the market's ever going to have the same level of attention on those coins ever again. And I don't know if you guys have looked at the TIA and dimension charts lately, but like modularity coins are down bad, man. They are down bad. They're down bad, but those are charts that we can look at next week. I think this is a pretty good spot to wrap things up. What do you guys say as we head into the weekend?
Let's wrap it up. Tommy, take us out.
All right, guys. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Debate with Hat is maybe a better title that we could have threw on it, but either way, before we can definitively finish up, I got to run through a few things for you all. A reminder that we have launched our brand new hedge fund, BB Wealth Management. That is a long short fund managed by the BB team, and we keep in mind we do invest pretty much explicitly in digital assets, but we do so in a way that takes into account, obviously, their historic propensity for asymmetric upside, while also taking into account the investment risk posed in any market. So if becoming an accredited investor or an LP is something that interests you, we do have more information in the description of this video. Make sure to reach out to us on email. We can answer any and all questions that y'all might have. And if not, we can always potentially hop on a call with you as well. But make sure to check that out if that is something that interests you. We are beyond excited, not just that we can trade it ourselves, but that we can provide you guys the opportunity to potentially partake as well. Not to forget the BB Academy, guys. I really think it's at such an exceptional value right now at $4.99. You get to learn educational tidbits from every single person on the team. And as I always say, we are, as a team, we trade very differently, right? Like, I trade very differently than Max. I trade very differently than Dr. Will's outlook. I trade very differently than Jackus, and vice versa for them versus me. So that's really the value proposition, right? You have 5 or 6 guys in this market actively that approach it very differently, but all very successfully. So if you're looking to build out your educational base, maybe you're even looking to expand upon your current one, I really think it's a great tool to be able to utilize to do that. So we do have more information linked in the description of this video below. Since Tucker's not here, maybe I talk about how maybe we run a promotion on it in the future again, like we did spontaneously earlier this week. Like I said, Tucker might get mad at me for saying that on stream. So we have to run it through him if we do. But so if you keep watching Market Check, sometimes there might be opportunities that pop up for you guys to get those at a discount. But if not, I can't guarantee it, because I think Tucker would kill me if I did. But not to forget about our programming, guys. Market Check. Hope you enjoyed the show. We went very long today. Usually the show is a little bit closer to slightly above an hour, but we've been gone, 2 days this week, so we figured we'd give you guys the extra long 2-hour Friday show. We hope that you all enjoyed it. We certainly did. We talked about a lot of very relevant topics, in my opinion. Trending altcoins. Is Whiff coming back, or is it going to go to 0 with Hat? I guess we'll find out. But
0 Whiff Hat, bro.
I'm just getting all the Whiff zingers in today, man. But yeah, that's enough about Whiff. We hope you enjoyed the show. Market Check is live Monday through Friday when the market is open, right? When New York Stock Exchange is open Monday through Friday. Typical start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not to forget Market Talk with the legendary King Wabi. That's a space hosted on Twitter. Like I said, by Wabi. And the flavor will always take on the, whatever guests we have. So if we can talk meme coins, macro, equities, crypto, everything in between. The Wabi always does a great job on those shows. But I think we have a market rants actually later today on YouTube with Wabi and Mr. Spread. So make sure to check that out as well. More details, I believe, probably scheduled on our YouTube and, of course, communicated through x.com. It's still so weird saying x.com instead of Twitter, man. I
don't
just
like
have
it.
to
I don't like it.
reflexively say Twitter. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you had a great week, a great Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend in store. Spend some time with your family, get outside, whatever you need to do to relax ahead of the new week. But we'll be back on Monday. Thanks again. And yeah, see y'all later.